Hey folks, remember that large dead red gum I grappled with a while back? Well, if you do remember that, he's not looking as tall as he once was, and let me tell you why. Let me show you why. Take a look to our right hand side. Look at that piece of dead wood that fell off of him. Oh my goodness. Oh. It would be terrible to be grappling with this tree when that fell. But this hazard is very manageable because if you can't figure out that this is a very likely situation, then, then your thinking is a hazard. And your reasoning is a hazard. Anyway, that is a pretty massive piece of dead wood that fell. Look at this thing. So, I don't know, 18, 20 centimeters. It was, 8 inches, 9 inches, 10 inches. The way it looks oriented, it looks like it just probably snapped, and then the heavier part found its way downward and just speared and plummeted down. And you can tell this is a likely situation because if it did a lot of smacking and crashing on the way down, a lot more of the branching parts would have snapped as well, and we would see those all over the place, and I don't see that. So same thing as if it crashed into a neighboring tree up here. All right, these semi-mature turpentine. I would see some damage over there. We would see some foliage on the ground, and again we would probably see a lot more snapped branches and a lot less of the dead original habit retained. So this snapped off and just speared down. Impressive. More to come. And the next one's going to be even worse. It's going to be logs. It's deadwood. You build homes out of deadwood. So it's not like this is some kind of brittle little, you know what I'm saying? Alright folks, let's get a move on. I'm bringing you along the back trails I usually take when I come around the creek area. So we had strong storms, and that usually means heavy rain and heavy wind not too long ago. But then it takes time. It takes time for the damage to set in. It takes time for the attachment, the limb, the branch attachment from the trees to degrade, loosen up, and then after all that water and that weight dries, okay, the difference in the vessels that hold the water and now all dry up, expansion, contraction, all of those combining factors, the fact that the limb might be dying now because it was damaged, cracked, and so you get a piece, you get deadwood. Okay. Also, there's a natural process also where trees, select or just draw back their resources and stuff on some limbs, and as they put the resources in other limbs too. So, yeah, in my profession, this is a big deal. Up over here, if you could see that, all right, that's where I grappled with that huge turpentine over there, and it's not too far from where I did the sword workout, and that's a lot of branches that fell. Why? Oh, what a surprise. There's a dead fellow. So that's a dead tree over there. And some of these are also coming off the huge turpentine. Oh! Speak of the friend. There he is. That's our huge turpentine buddy. So, for a whole, a good minute or so, this whole trail will be under his canopy. And here's one of his branches, for sure. For sure. There's one of his branches. Pretty much across the trail. Here's a nice little one hanging. See that? So that one's hanging in the pathway and stuff. There's more treachery closing off that side of the path, which is a little bit more on the bank and stuff. But and these thick brambles, you think you're safe, but at the same time they certainly can catch limbs. But then you have hangers sitting in the canopies. So I mean, when I've done certain type of work, even on my own private recreational time, but I knew that I was going to be somewhat invasive in the areas that I occupied and stuff, not actually damaging stuff, I brought a hard hat. Of course I did. Until you think it's safe, then at least. Look at this guy. You see the angle? Follow it to the right. Okay, follow it. There we go. So he snapped. Look at that kink. Look at that bend. In the body language of trees, hopefully what we're looking for are signs beforehand that this might happen. We'd be looking for perhaps a compromise. We would be looking for some kind of wound or injury, and at the very least we would be looking at the habit of the new wood growth that's happening and stuff. And if we notice bulges and bulks on any side, there would be a reason why the tree is growing extra wood there, and that's because there's a stress, there's a problem there, and the tree is trying to solve that, compensate for that and stuff. It's one of the reasons why we might see a bulge, and you might see what we call reaction wood and stuff. And that would be a good indication that perhaps we would need to monitor this tree a little bit more and analyze the risks involved with letting it run its natural course, or should we intervene and stuff. So here, not only is it a buckling, but it's a twisting. Now, the twisting may be part of the reason why it failed, okay? Or it may have happened during the failure. So, and that's in the end, it's still, but yeah, it's interesting because that would help us out with what happened and stuff like that. So as the tree falls, it bumps into other trees and it twists and it gets directed and guided. So it was falling between these paper blocks, and we could have got the twisting buckling then. However, the story is slightly different if that wasn't the case and the twisting occurred because of strong winds and different directional winds that definitely do sweep through valleys and that definitely do sweep through little coves and alleyways made by trees, groves and stands of trees, and then open spaces, and they whip in. So you get that twisting force, and you get that loading force from that torsion from the different wind directions and stuff, and it twists the tree. Twisting is a little bit weird for a tree. It might not be used to that. It might be used to compression and types of forces and stresses. And then a twisting one comes around, and that's sort of like completely different. Like how you can sometimes still do stuff with certain injuries, unless there's usually that one, or usually that particular angle or direction that you just can't use. Like you could do everything else, but you can't step on it, or I can't put force on it, or I can't twist. You know, stuff like that. Same for the tree. Well, the cool thing is, if enough of those fibers are retained, and it's not that big of a deal in the middle. In the middle is already mostly dead. Okay? All you're talking about is really a small amount of the outer layer. Okay? If that's alive, then this tree may keep on living in that downed position. Okay? Clearly it's stressed. Heaps of dead wood and stuff. But as we get over here, is there going to be a happy ending, at least for right now? Let me tell you. I'll help you right now, and I'll tell you right now. And that's not looking good. No. I don't see any living. So chances are it was already dying, and that's why it was weak to begin with and stuff. And I don't see any living. No. Yep, there are some. Where my finger is, you see this? You see this? This stuff where my finger is pointing to? All these leaves right here? That's from him. That's these pieces connected to. Alright, so he's alive. So there is hope. Alright, that's our happy ending for this guy. There is hope, and he could stay like that. And so long as some of that tissue, some of those transport tubes, the xylem, the phloem, so long as they're intact, so long as there's still enough canopy in this tray, and so long as it can still steal some sun, still snatch up some sun, it certainly can still live like this. And it might even correct itself. All the way at the top, it'll start uprighting again. It happens. Happens a lot. Alright? We love you, buddy. And thanks for telling a story with us. Alright. Hey guys, how would you feel about this magnificent scribbly gum? Oh, isn't that fantastic? Unless... Oh, wait a minute. What is this? Oh, snap. Like, literally snap. Oh. Did that come from right over there? Watch as we do a close-up over there. See it? Right in the middle of the screen. And it said, just to show the magnificent dynamics of such large, awesome organisms and stuff. Not to scare you or anything. Just be careful. Especially after storms. Have a little better look if you're going exploring.